Alright, welcome to episode 4 of my glitch sound design series. I'll be working in Faceplant again today, and I will be using the sampler. By and large, the results you get out of the sampler are replicable in the granular generator. The granular generator is just generally a lot more powerful and fully featured. But even if I have two tools that can achieve the same result, I like to have the option. I like to be able to change my workflow or the system I'm working in time to time just to keep things fresh. So I still use the sampler sometimes for glitch sound design, even though I could do just about anything I need in the granular generator. So for a sample, I will be using Paul stretch to generate something, or Paul X stretch. I think Paul X stretch is just the modern incarnation of Paul stretch. I'll have to do a dedicated video about Paul stretch at some point because it's just a really fun piece of software to work in. You can get it on your phone and play around with it there. But it is generally used for creating really lush, washed out ambient kind of things. Like here I have just this little short clip of a flute, and can stretch it out. It's at almost 150 times the length. And then you have a lot more things here that you can play around with, like the ratios. So it's playing it at different, like relative pitches to the bass pitch. There's this filter that you can like randomize in crazy ways and stuff. It's a cool thing to play around with. But today, I'm not making some nice ambient thing with it. I am making glitchy stuff. Let's see. Get this one. And I'll just grab a little chunk of it here. So I'll bring the FFT size all the way down. If it's going to update. You can see up here what the output length and FFT size are. I don't know why it's not updating the FFT size. Oh, there we go. So with a low FFT size, you can get some really chaotic results. The track that I just released, that the title is a lot of Unicode symbols. I'm just going to call the track symbols. Almost all of the source audio used in it was generated in Paul X stretch with a very low FFT value. You can go with that. So render it. Set this to V3 and render. Okay. So pull this into the sampler. Oh, I didn't. I guess I didn't really have the compression on as much in Paul Stretch, but that's fine. I'll still compress it here. Okay, so press a note, plays through the sample once. So we want to turn the loop on. Now you have this offset value, which controls where the playback starts. And then you have the start of the loop, and then the length of the loop, and also crossfade, but I want to turn that down. I like to link the loop start and the offset values by connecting them with a macro like that. Just to make sure that when you press a note, it is starting playing back at the start of the loop, so you don't get this sort of like prefix of the rest of the sample before it gets into the loop. Compression on this. I'll get a random modulator, turn the rate down, always trigger, okay, that, and I will have one of them control the macro that controls the start and offset, and then another one to control the length. The depth that you want to modulate the length is dependent on how long the sample you're using is. So this one I think is like 10 seconds or something. So, you know, I don't want it to go up to like 50% of the length or something like that. I want to keep it pretty low. But if you're using a sample that's a second long or something like that, you know, you might want it to modulate a bit deeper. I'll set this to like, I don't know, maybe that, about 1.7. Put another compressor here. Put another compressor. And then a transient shaper. A disperser. And then a clipper. I guess I'll turn off the transient, actually. I'll bypass this for now. Although I think I'll probably want it later. Okay. Now I'm gonna make, I don't have a name for it. I don't know, a like 3-level remap thing again. that I've made in at least one of the other videos. Put it into a remap, split it up like so. And then I'll map this to the master pitch. So half of the time it will either be an octave up or an octave down. Oh, I think I'll actually, this is the one on this, the length. I'll actually have this one randomized beyond, a note on randomization. And then actually, I think I'll get a remap. Make it very unlikely that there, and then I'll have this trigger the start and offset value. Like most of the time I want it to just change when I press a note, but with it set up like this, it will occasionally flip it to a different position. Okay. So now I'm going to turn on the Unison. The amount of voices and the Unison type you use is up to taste and experimentation. I've been using synthetic, but could be, pitch stack could be really cool. I don't know. Whoa. It is pretty cool. Not really what I'm going for, but it is pretty cool. But I'll go with synthetic. I had thought that the blend knob sort of served as a mix knob for the Unison, but it doesn't really seem like that's how it works. I'm not sure exactly. Like you can clearly still hear the Unison voices doing their thing with the blend at 0. I'm not really sure. I would like to have a direct mix knob for the Unison. Actually, you know what I could do? Kind of a clunky way of doing it, but I can duplicate this, and I'll just have one of them without Unison. And then I can use a macro to essentially create a mix knob for it. That minus 12.04. Sure. Perfect. Okay, so I'll make a binary random modulator, as I always do. I think it would be really nice if you could save modulator group presets. So I could just like, you know, click here and then find some preset and put it in to get one of these pre-made. That would be nice. Now yeah, I think I do. I think I want it to just have the Unison on or off completely. So I'll just map this directly there like that. And even though I don't really get what the blend knob is doing, I might as well just have another one of these modulate that as well. That. And I think I'll get another one of these. Map that to the detune. And then I'll get another random modulator, have that trigger that, and then have this modulate the depth of that modulation. So the detune is either on or off, but every time it turns on, it goes to a random value, basically. Ooh. That's pretty cool. Let me put a multipass OTT in here. That's pretty cool. I like that. This is a pretty different kind of glitchy sound here that I've gotten compared to previous videos. I think it's just because of that Unison. The way it's not really a pluck. It's like the way it sounds when all of the Unison voices are just starting out and detuning against each other, like before they've become detuned and it's all just sort of random. You know, the way they like meow kind of sound. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I like that. Okay, so I think that's probably pretty good for this side of things, basically. But the other thing I wanted to show in this video was a new snap heap patch I made that was kind of inspired by something funny. I recently got some over-ear earbuds to wear at work. And the water fountain is like if I leave my iPad or iPhone by the main place I have my backpack and stuff, um, and I go to the water fountain, it is like just barely on the edge of the range of the earbuds. And the way they glitch and, like, I don't know, break up when you're sort of standing on that edge of their range is really cool, and it inspired me to develop this patch to replicate it. So basically the sound I got from them is both of them could be fine. Maybe one side would cut out for a second. Maybe the other side would cut out for a second. Maybe one side would be like a couple milliseconds delayed compared to the other one, or it could be like, 100 milliseconds delayed to the other one. And it's sort of switching between all these states randomly, and it's a really cool sound. Very, very disorienting. So I built, what is it? Stereo glitchizer to replicate it. And so I will. Oh, actually, this isn't even the finished version, I think. So I'm just going to replicate this again. Hopefully I can remember how I did it. So you're using these two lanes in parallel. One hard pan to the right, one hard pan to the left. Turn the delay all the way down. Now, unfortunately, it only goes down to 10 milliseconds. However, there is a way to get around this. Actually, you know what? I might as well not even use that, I think, because yeah, that's the range on the convolver goes up plenty high. What I had done in a version that I used before was I had this sort of, sorry, that's my squishy ball that I used for gore sounds. I had the normal delay randomizing up here, and then at the end I also had a separate thing randomizing with the convolver just by like 0 to 10 milliseconds. But I might as well just only use the convolver. Let's make a left and right macro. And have this control the mix. Actually, I might not even use these macros. Okay. Get a random modulator. A binary random modulator. Have this control the mix on left one. Have another one control the mix on the right one. And have another random modulator that gets triggered by it that controls the delay time. I don't know what range I set on the patch that I had pulled up before. Probably like 100 or so milliseconds should be fine. Could play around with higher values, but I think that should be fine. 150. I can get it. There we go. Okay, same thing here. What was that? 66. Okay. Oh, and I need to turn these down. They should not be at 50%. It should be, I don't know. I think I had it set to about 1 in 8 chance. Like that. Turn down the rate here. Okay, and then a gain. That. And just copy this. Don't need the random modulator at the end. This one, roll the gain on that, and this one on that. Oh, I need to change this though. I think I'll turn the rate up. Yeah, that's pretty good. Bring this down a bit more. Okay, and then I'm just gonna put a delay buffer at the end of each of these. I've shown how to make it in previous videos, but I'll show it again here because it's quick and easy. Get a delay, turn the mix down, have a macro, control the mix, control the feedback, have a gain above it, and when the macro is high, this should be 0. And random modulator, random binary modulator, like that. Have that control the macro. And then have a random modulator that gets triggered by this turning on that changes the delay time. Something like that should probably be fine. Okay, copy that over to the right side. And there we go. There is your stereo glitchizer. I think I might move the disperser after that. Might also get a transient shaper up there. And you know what? We just put the clipper at the end. It's still going. Oh, it did the thing where it thinks I'm pressing a key. I don't know why it does that from time to time. You know what? Actually, I'm gonna put... Yeah, I think so. I'm gonna put the transient shaper and disperser on these two channels separately. I'm not sure if that actually does anything here or not. I don't know if the transient shaper processes the left and right signals separately or not, but might as well do it. Okay. And then the end. Might as well just throw in a couple OTTs. Okay. I'm pretty happy with that. Yeah, I like that. One little thing I might try. Don't know how this will work, but might as well try it out. Is just put a envelope following filter in the middle here. Might detract from the sound, but you can try it. Yeah, I think that's pretty cool. %60 mix. Okay. All right, sure. I think that's about it. Yeah, so still cool stuff you can do with the sampler, even though it's not as feature rich as the granular generator. And yeah, I had fun making this stereo glitchizer thing to replicate my earbuds falling out of Bluetooth range. So the next video, I'm kind of curious. I haven't really played around with it, but I'm kind of interested in trying to make one that just uses the noise generator for glitch sounds. I think that could be cool. I'll have to play around with it because it's not really something I've played around with. But we'll see. I might try that. In lieu of that, I'll probably do one about making glitchy sounds with kind of tools outside of Reaper, like hex editors to mess with the files themselves and importing non-audio files into Audacity as raw data to get weird sounds. Just things like that are other ways of getting glitchy kinds of sounds. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll be back next time, I guess.